And bonjour, Bruno here in Boston at the Terrace of a Cafe. And Daniel, where are you, Daniel?
At home, at my
Home.
home office.
Okay. We're going to talk about LARVOL CLIN, the Google map of cancer clinical data. And in particular, today, we're going to talk about how AI unable to navigate and talk with the data directly without going through filtering and standard analytics. We're going to talk about it a little bit more generally, and then Daniel is going to give a demo, an example, and you're going to be able, hopefully, to use it because a version of LaborClean is actually available for free. My colleague had given me a lot of grief for giving away so much data for free, and I get into a little fight from time to time, but I think that makes sense. So let me say a few general word about the topic. Some people are saying SaaS is dead. Some people are saying UI is dead. Of course, both are exaggeration. I love to listen to Nate Jones on YouTube, by the way. It's really try to pick one voice in AI to listen to. Nate Jones, it is. Nate doesn't know who I am, and that's okay, but I know who he is. One of his podcasts was about that topic in general. We're going to apply it in our case, in our field, cancer AI. And the topic was, now that you can prompt anything with AI, and that AI understand your intent, your interest, your history, your preference, why do we need a UI? Why do we need analytics? Why do we need these stupid filters in order to find the data we want, to graph the data we want? Why don't just explain what you want in English, change your prompt, say, no, I like it in purple, or I like to compare the data to last year, or I'd like the data labeled a certain way. And then it just creates the analytics you want. So in some cases, we want consistent UI, especially in a highly regulated environment or busy executive who want always the data the same way. But in many use cases, you don't need that. You create essentially ad hoc, ephemeral analytics or UI. So this is what Daniel is going to attempt to demo today with, I think, a high likelihood of success. Before that, Daniel, any general comments from you? And then I'm going to put myself on mute here and continue to eat my salad as we speak.
I think many times I'll be connecting with customers and they'll be explaining their particular use case of CLIN, and everybody uses it so differently, right? There's really no end to what you can do with it, but a lot of people are looking for particular use cases that maybe match their particular area of their particular tumor type, right, of their particular research style, so on and so forth. And to be a little bit frank, brutal honesty, it annoys me a little bit, because if we were to build a custom UI for every single one of our customers, then all of a sudden we're a software consulting company, right? And that's not what we do. So I think this will give everybody a lot of peace of mind. I have had people that have really liked this for their, frankly, very strange, and if you're listening to this, why, use case of putting together data. So it's in your face. As soon as you go into CLIN, you will see the chatbot. Of course, if you have a paid account, you're going to have more credits. But if you don't, then I think you only got like 4 credits. So make the best use of them.
For people in the audience who are the first time on this podcast, CLIN is a data platform that we built at LARVOL. It's called CLIN, CLIN, because it includes clinical data mostly. Clinical data from clinical trials in the field of cancer. Our mandate, our mission is that as a Google map of cancer data, we have already the most exhaustive, comprehensive, up-to-date, accurate map of all of the data in cancer, the data that could be found in public sources, but in so many public sources that it's very hard to put everything together. And on top of that Google map, we put an overlay of commentaries of color that is not coming from me, it's not even coming from Daniel, it's not coming from our team, it's coming from 6,000 oncologists on Twitter. So essentially, anybody who's an oncologist on Twitter, we extract all of their smart commentaries on clinical trials in cancer. And that's the layer of color that we add on top of our Google map. That was my little infomercial, Daniel. Back to you.
So let's think about, for instance, let's say that you are a person that's working at, I don't know, Bruno, give me any pharma company up at the top of your head.
Pfizer.
At Pfizer. Okay. Now, I'm not as versed with Pfizer trial, so let me go find their most popular trial. Pfizer. Right, Breakwater. So I can ask, let's go into Breakwater. I'm going to find, and this is like a real thing that I would do if I were trying to find, kind of research a pharma company to understand what their pipeline is and everything. We're going to go into related trials, population by intervention by landscape. This is what people are comparing it to. Keynote B15. Okay. So I'm going to go to my clinical and I'm going to tell it to create a comparison chart of social sentiment for Breakwater versus Keynote 315 for 2024 onwards, highlighting data releases at conferences and sentiment over time. I have a little typo there, but that's fine. It's smart enough that it'll know. And since this has access to the entirety of CLIN, basically, and it's got a layer of reasoning on it, it can really go in and find the information that it needs, extract the information that it needs, and then build the graphs on the fly bespoke to you. So that you can basically just screenshot this, paste it on the deck you're working on, and present it and take whatever decisions need to be taken with this data. It's very, very straightforward. Right? There we go. I think it was another keynote, maybe keynote 115. There might be a typo. I think I might have messed up the trial.
You can also let the software pick sort of competing trials with high buzz on social media and see how it decides of which trial to pick, and the meaningful sort of share of voice competitor for that trial. That should work also.
Yeah, and in a sense, this is really, really nice. You can pick to display the information in whichever way you want. I'm going to show you, like, this one's still working. It's generating the result. But this was a pie chart that compares social sentiment around conferences for Harmony 6 versus Keynote 671, right? And it builds the pie charts. It's all fully interactive, right? If I wanted to, I could just screenshot this information, put it straight on my presentation, right? I can ask it to build better, more complete summaries of this, right? What are the key highlights? What are the main positive comments versus the main negative comments? Which of these maybe had more views? Because you might be looking at two trials that have the exact same amount of posts, but one of them got 500,000 views and the other one only got 50,000. So yeah, they all got 127 tweets, but one of them carried such a mass of views that might be a lot more important for you. Or maybe you're looking at a trial that only has 3 negative tweets, but those 3 negative tweets got the bulk of the views, then all the positive tweets didn't get. So that is the type of image that your brand is reflecting. And you can not only ask this about kind of social sentiment, it's what we are kind of demoing on here. But you can also ask this about OS, PFS, MPFS, right? Calculating average populations. Later on, we'll be able to connect this even to our pseudo IPD, and you'll be able to run kind of more complete data analysis on the fly, just using text without having to go in and pick the correct trials and right select the correct curves and make sure that the pool curve works. And if we go back on here, this just finished building the graph. Right, so cumulative social sentiment, you can see Breakwater got almost 325 tweets versus Leap06. So I did mess up the name. The trial record is Leap06, so I picked another trial that is related, and then it got sentiment over time, right? January 25, May 25, and then we can see here also it built a table with all the release events. So September 2024. Right, that's this little bit of buzz. December 2024, January 2025, and boom, we got a lot of buzz on there. Right, all of this is interactive. I can ask it to expand. I can ask it to just build in. It can also suggest kind of deeper questions. So rerun this exact comparator if you meant a different keynote. So it's asking me to correct myself. The KOLs and actual posts driving the biggest spikes at GI and ASCO 2025, and the evidence comparison of okay, this is what sentiment says, but also this is what evidence says. Because a trial might be so small from such a small sponsor that it didn't get that many views, but maybe the data is strong enough that it's worth comparing. And all of those insights that before used to take a lot of sleuthing around, right, going through trials and finding the filter, and, I don't know, going to Niagara and then related trials and navigating horizontally that same field. We can now do this in seconds, right? Just by having text. So it's really, really nice. I don't know if you want to expand on anything, but I think I've been really happy to pitch this to people that are currently using CLIN and that are kind of didn't use CLIN because it didn't have the specific use case they wanted.
So I think as I'm listening, I think that there's still a role for both, for example. And you might want to go into the old way that we also have in navigating, let's say, the buzz for a given trial or a given product, maybe. You can pick the product and look at all the buzz for that product. That's actually a good view. So what I'm thinking is that
I'm going to do that while you.
Either or is that in this case, these products, but also more broadly, I think they are likely to be a number of preset analytics and some ephemeral UI. So it's a little bit like you go to a restaurant. I just got my salad here. Okay, I can either build my own salad, or I can say I would like the Mediterranean salmon tabbouleh salad, right? And restaurants have both.
There's another use case, right? You can go in and browse the whole menu, and then that will give you an idea of what you can put on your own salad, right? So after sleuthing around and seeing all the information we had, if you're not familiar with it, then maybe you can get weirder, more complex data comparisons that maybe off the top of your head you couldn't come up with.
I think that's going to be a perfect ending in a few minutes to this video, but not before, in your closing statement, you find a way to use the word sleuth one more time. One more time. I think you really have to do it in closing this. Oh, that reminds me of the Pulp Fiction movie. Say sleuth one more time.
Well, viewers of the podcast.
It's a beautiful. Say it again.
Viewers of the podcast, if by any chance in your internet sleuthing you found us, feel free to reach out. I'll hook you up with CLIN credentials for a bit. We'll give you a free trial. Bruno gives away most of the platform for free, but we'll give you access to what's not free, the things we have managed to convince Bruno to charge for. So you can sleuth in there a little bit further. There you go. Got you a twofer.
Twofer, yeah. Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna sleuth my way out of the afternoon here in Boston, and I hope to see all of you next weekend for another edition to the CLIN Info podcast. Perhaps with Daniel or perhaps with someone else. We'll have to see.
I might be
Uh,
sleuthing around.
it was-
I hit my quota for the day. I can't say it once more.
you cannot say it. Actually, for the week, you cannot use that word anymore.
Yeah, I
Okay,
ran out
that's
of
it.
tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Au revoir.